Hello everyone and welcome to another video on the channel. Another installment of the weekly watches. This is 2 weeks worth. I decided last Sunday there wasn't any point in doing one because I think I'd only seen 3.5 films. So I just thought I'd rather save those films to talk about with these films this week. And now we've got a bit more to talk about. Sort of this week going onwards for a little bit. Be going to the cinema less in the week, which gives me more of a chance to get some of these watched in the meantime. Sorry if you can hear my dog in the background. He doesn't stop barking anytime. It's mad. Yeah, so I would say mixed bag this week, but there's more good than bad, I would say. There's only one film that I didn't get on with, which is the first one we'll talk about. The others I enjoyed to varying degrees. So yeah, there's a lot of titles to go through this week, so I'm just going to get started with the first one, which is Woody Allen's Interiors. I watched this because I think it was the day after Diane Keaton passed away, and I thought I wanted to watch something that I hadn't seen with her in before, just like to remember her. You know, I always like to do that with big actors when they do pass away, unfortunately. This was as dull as dishwater. This was such a boring film. I mentioned it on one of the streams. It's literally like watching paint dry. I couldn't explain to you the plot of the story because, if I'm being honest, I don't think there really is a plot. It's just about a group of women talking to each other about their mother and her mental state and the fact that her father's got a new woman in his life, and it was so boring. And considering it was only an hour and a half, less than that, it felt much longer. Yeah, definitely not a good Woody Allen film. I have got Annie Hall lined up to watch later on, so hopefully that's better. That is considered like one of his best films. But yeah, just don't bother if you've not seen it. It's really not worth it. It just save your time. Yeah, there's not much more I can really comment on this one. That's Interiors. Next up, I watched a Sofia Coppola film called On the Rocks, which I've had in the collection for a long time. It is an Apple film, but it did get a physical release over in the States. So I got it imported, got a good price for it because I knew it was one that I would be very likely to enjoy, and I did. And because it only works on my region free player, which was downstairs, I had a night where I could watch something downstairs. So I chose this one because it had been sat on the shelf for so long. And like I said, it's one that I knew I would like. You've got Rashida Jones, you've got Bill Murray, you've got Marlon Wayans. It's basically about a woman, middle-aged woman, who's happily married, but she starts to think that her husband might be having an affair, and she kind of raises her suspicions with her father, played by Bill Murray, who's this big hotshot. I think he's an actor or something. He's got a lot of money. He kind of is in and out of her life, but he really does love her. And he wants to investigate, see what's going on, get to the bottom of it. So they end up prowling the streets of New York a few nights to try and find out if her husband is indeed having an affair or not. And it's very funny, sort of very heartwarming as well. Definitely feels like a Sofia Coppola film. And I said, in a way, to me, it feels like it could be a spiritual sequel to Lost in Translation. It's just got that feeling to it. And Bill Murray could be playing the same character, sort of, that he did play in that film. But yeah, really enjoyable film. Only an hour and a half. One that I definitely recommend. Like I said, you can't get it physically over here. If you were interested in owning the physical, I don't know how easy it is to get now to import, because like I said, this was a few years ago now that I got this one. But still, if you have got Apple TV Plus, I'd recommend giving it a watch because really enjoyable film. So yeah, that's On the Rocks. Now, next up, I'm going to talk about this because I watched part of it, so I feel like I'll talk about what I've seen of it, and that's Drag Me to Hell. Now, we've all been having issues playing our Blu-ray copies of Drag Me to Hell. A number of us have tried it, myself, Roy, Stuart, Pete, all tried it, and the disc hasn't worked on any of our players. Now, I tried my player downstairs, which is like the cheap region-free Blu-ray player, not 4K. I had a couple of issues getting it going, but I did eventually get it going. and it played. So it's definitely something to do with the disc, maybe the firmware on the disc that doesn't like it, because I had like pop-ups saying like copyright violation and stuff like that, which was just odd. But like I said, eventually it did start playing. I think I got, how long is it? Just over an hour and a half. I want to say I got about 45 minutes into the film, so about halfway. And I had to pause the film for something. And when I went to play it again, it just completely froze, went back to the main page, and I couldn't get it going again. So I've still yet to see the end of this film. I looked on streaming, couldn't find it. So I'm sort of stuck, having only seen half of this film for now. Maybe one day I'll get to see the other half, because I did enjoy what I saw of it. It's a really good Sam Raimi horror film. It's about a young woman who works at a bank, and she's basically gives like people loans and stuff, authorizes loans, but she wants to become, she's like feeling a bit low in herself, and there's an open seat at the like assistant manager's role, and she's going up against this new like sort of hot shot that's kind of swooped in to try and take over what should be hers. Her boss is played by the brilliant character actor David Paymer, who's always brilliant. And one day she has to be cutthroat basically, because she wants this promotion. This elderly, I want to say she's like Russian or Romanian lady comes in, and she needs an extension on her home loan. Otherwise she's going to end up, the bank are going to repossess her home, and she's going to have nowhere to live. And to start with, she's very sympathetic with her. She's like, I really want to help you. And she goes to her boss and asks if there's anything they can do. And he says sort of, it's your decision, you make the decision. And she sees that as an opportunity to prove herself to her boss. So she's cutthroat, and she says she can't give her a loan. The woman starts begging to her, and basically, long story short, this old Romanian woman puts a curse on our main character, and she starts to see things, and that's basically where I got to before the film stopped. But I did enjoy it. Like I said, if you've seen all of Drag Me to Hell, what's the second half like? I'd definitely be interested to see if I'm going to like the ending. But yeah, Drag Me to Hell, one that I need to try and finish at some point. Then we have one of my favourites of this year so far, Karate Kid Legends. I got this not last week, the week before. And thought I'd give it a rewatch straight away, because it's just an easy hour and a half fun film. Now, it will probably shock you to learn I have never seen any of the original Karate Kid films, yet I have seen the 2010 Jackie Chan Jaden Smith version, and I have also seen the entirety of Cobra Kai. God knows why I've not seen the original ones. I have got that steelbook with the first three, and now on DVD, so it doesn't really give me any excuse to not watch them now. But this one, yeah, just a lot of fun at the cinema. Just a very fun, entertaining film. As you can see, verified hot on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm not American. Tomatoes. And yeah, it sort of follows the same story as the original. Obviously, different beats to the story. And you've also got Ralph Macchio, who is now the mentor to our main character Lee, played by Ben Wang, who also had an excellent role in both mine and Jim's favourite film of the year, The Long Walk. And Jackie Chan's back, playing the same character from the 2010 reboot, Mr. Han, I believe, who's his like teacher, and I think he's his uncle as well, or something like that. And yeah, he basically helps him to be, he's got the underdog, as in the original Daniel was, from what I've seen. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun, really easy, sort of, not action film, but like summer family blockbuster film. And I know a lot of people don't have any interest in this. I think Jim said he didn't have any interest in this, which is fair enough. You like what you like, and if you don't know, if you think you're not going to like something, or shall I say, then there's no point in wasting your time watching it. But I personally really enjoyed this one, and I'm glad that I got to rewatch it and that I have it on physical now. I also started, because I also picked up the Phoenician Scheme on Blu-ray again, and I did watch like sort of the first hour, so I've still got 40 minutes of that to watch, but because I was watching it on my player downstairs, I've not actually finished it yet, so I do need to try and finish that one at some point, because that was one that I did enjoy at the cinema as well earlier in the year. Next up, we have a rewatch of The Others, Nicole Kidman. What's his name? Alejandro Amenabar. This was the first rewatch for me, and I'm inclined to agree with Jim. Going into it, I was with Stuart, who said, "Oh yeah, it's just as good on a rewatch. Oh, it's brilliant." It's a good film. Definitely wouldn't say it's a bad film at all. But on that rewatch, it doesn't hit the same way because you know the twist, you know exactly what's happening, and it's just a good film. Not great, but it's good. I love Nicole Kidman, and she is brilliant in this. It's still very creepy, got very atmospheric feel to it, very like sort of gothic-y as well. But yeah, it didn't hit for me quite the same as it did on a first watch. Rewatching it this time, but of course I'm going to watch it again. Still enjoyed it. Still a good film. 4K looks brilliant as well. Yep, if you don't know what it's about, sorry, I will explain. It's like a ghost story. It's about this young family, a mother and her two young children, who have just moved into this big sort of house on the Isle of Jersey, just at the end of the war, or it's the last year of the war, something like that. And her children have this sensitivity to light, which means they've got to be locked in rooms and they can't have any light in the room, any natural light. And one day these three servants knock on the door and they start experiencing supernatural events. And yeah, I'll leave it there. But yeah, really decent film this is. The Others. One of my favourites that I've watched in this go, Father of the Bride. This is is it 1991, I believe? It doesn't say. Of course it doesn't say because it's Disney. I'm pretty sure this was 91 this came out though. Adaptation of Father of the Bride with Steve Martin, Diane Keaton and Martin Short. Just a really feel good, easy to watch comedy. I have got the sequel, so I will be diving into that one shortly. Yeah, just lovely film. I love Steve Martin. Diane Keaton's always was great, wasn't she? And yeah, just a really fun, entertaining, easy watch. I don't even remember. Did I watch this last Sunday night, maybe? Or was it after the stream on Monday? I can't remember now. No, it was last Sunday night, because the next one was what I put on after the stream on Monday. So yeah, really recommend this one if you haven't seen it. That is Father of the Bride. Then, we were obviously talking about Spielberg on last week's stream, his filmography, going through his filmography, and this was one that came up that I knew I owned, that I just hadn't seen yet, and Jim said, "Oh, you got to watch it, it's a great film." Pete hadn't seen it either, so Pete watched it at the same time as me, and that is Empire of the Sun. We will be going over the rest of Spielberg's filmography on tomorrow's stream, and we're going to start looking at Scorsese as well, hopefully, so join us if you're free tomorrow. But yeah, this is Christian Bale's first film. What a great film debut to have in a big Steven Spielberg war film. It basically follows this young boy, Jim, who is basically, it's set in China? Somewhere. It's either China or Japan. I think it's China, because Japan invaded China. And it's all about that happening towards the end of... It isn't the end. What year is it? It doesn't say what year it is. Through World War II. He gets separated from his parents. Comes across various characters. But ends up getting put into a Japanese internment camp. Which was basically a camp that the Japanese just shoved loads of foreigners, like British Americans, in during the war. They were treated awfully there. It was very harsh living conditions there. And it's about looking at this through a child's eyes. And I thought it was very good. You've got John Malkovich, Miranda Richardson, Nigel Havers. Really good supporting cast. And the score by John Williams is absolutely brilliant. Not one of my favourite Spielberg films, I would say. But it's underrated for definite. And yep, one that I'm glad that I finally got around to watching. That's Empire of the Sun. 3 to go. Next up, these are all, well, the next two are recommendations. First up, we have Right at Your Door, which was recommended a few months ago to me by my good friend Ash over at Popcorn and Horror. And when I posted my collection overview video last week or the week before, it was in that pile, and Ash said again, you've got to watch this. Pete also echoed that, said you must watch it, it's fantastic. So I thought an hour and a half, I thought I'd check this on one night. I think it was possibly after I'd finished Empire of the Sun, or maybe I just got back from the cinema, I can't remember now. So I put it on. I sort of knew sort of what was going on going into it. But it's one of those films that is, like Ash said, best going into not knowing anything. I think it is more effective like that. It's got a very shocking ending, which really makes you think about things. I'm not going to tell you the plot of this film, just because I think it works better, as I said, going into this film completely blind. It's a really good, like, sort of thriller. I suppose it is more of a thriller than a drama, with some brilliant performances, and it's one that really makes you think afterwards about what could have happened, and the fact that sometimes listening to people isn't always for the good of things. So yeah, that is Right at Your Door. This could be, with Father of the Bride, my highlight of the week. And I have many people to thank for this, because there was a lot of people that recommended this. I know Stuart did. I know Mark did. I know Kenny did. Quite a few people said, oh, you've got to watch this. I know you'll like it. Roy has watched it fairly recently, and I absolutely loved it. And that's The First Great Train Robbery. Who said I don't like 70s films, Roy? 78, and I loved it. Just such a great film. I mean, one of the best parts of this film to me is at the start. As soon as that score comes on and you know it's Jerry Goldsmith, you're just like, what a great score. But the characters in this, just the situations they get themselves into, just such a fun, entertaining film, directed by Michael Crichton, who obviously also wrote the novel for the film, before the film, obviously. And it's about the first great train robbery, before the one that we all know, back in 1855, I believe. And Sean Connery basically plays this master thief who comes up with a plan to steal these gold bars from a moving railway cart. He teams up with Donald Sutherland, who plays a safecracker, and his girlfriend, not Donald Sutherland's girlfriend, his girlfriend, played by the beautiful Leslie Ann Down. And it's about them planning to do this robbery, and do they get away with it? That is the big question. And I just had a smile on my face watching this. It's just such a fun, entertaining film. Sean Connery's brilliant. Donald Sutherland's always brilliant. There's a bit, especially, I suppose towards the end of the film, in a coffin, that cracked me up. Yeah, it's just a really fun 70s, easy to watch action, suspense, fun film. So yeah, I really recommend watching this if you've not seen it, because I hope I sold you on it. But yeah, especially if you like Sean Connery, because one of the reasons I wanted to watch this was because of Sean Connery, and I just thought, why the hell not chuck it on last night? So I did. So that's The First Great Train Robbery. And then finally, one that I only actually received in the post yesterday. I think I saw a trailer for it during the week, and I thought, yeah, that looks like it could be my sort of film. And it stars Anthony Hopkins and Russell Crowe in Spotswood. Now, I will say Russell Crowe has got more of a supporting role in this film, so that is a bit deceiving there, that he's like billed with Anthony Hopkins. I would put Ben Mendelsohn up there, because he is sort of like the co-lead to Anthony Hopkins' character. And it's one of his first films as well. It's Russell Crowe's like second or third film, but before he like broke out, it was a year before Romper Stomper came out. And Toni Collette's very first film as well. And what we have here is basically, it follows Anthony Hopkins' character, who is basically what they call an efficiency expert. He is tasked by his company to manage the downsizing of a huge auto parts factory in Melbourne, I believe. Basically, one of the factories in Melbourne he's got to go to, because he's got to sort of evaluate it to see whether there could be any cutbacks financially. And as he's doing this, he obviously befriends some of the workers there. Has to sort of like see whether there's more to it than just money. And it's a feel good comedy film from the early 90s that I can't say I'd ever heard of before. But Anthony Hopkins is brilliant in it. Ben Mendelsohn's great in it. I mean, really good in it. And like I said, Russell Crowe's an absolute dick in this film. Such a dick in this film. You really just want to punch him in the face. But it is a good film. It's a very good film. And I got this really cheap, like, I don't know, was it World of Books that sold this? Looks very cheaply made, but the picture quality was alright, to be honest. An hour and a half, very easy, fun watch. So yeah, that is Spotswood, which was the last film that I watched this week. So yeah, that's it. Let me know if you've seen any of those titles down below in the comments and your thoughts on them. As I said, the stream will be on tomorrow at 7 PM. All of the guests are to be confirmed yet. I believe Jim will definitely be on, Kenny might be on, Pete's definitely going to be on, and I don't know, there could be some other surprises. You'll just have to wait and tune in tomorrow at 7 to find out. But yeah, that's it for this video. If you liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, turn your notification bell on so you know when I have a new video uploaded to the channel. Comment down below anything and everything. As you know, I always take the time to get back to anyone that leaves me a comment because I really do appreciate it. And that is it. So until next time, everyone, take care. Goodbye.